One thing is always certain, when it comes to projections involving NBA draft prospects, we will never know how things will pan out until they actually happen. We can watch as much tape as we want, or get as many stats as we want, compare everything to past prospects who ended up panning out in the NBA. But at the end of the day, only time will tell. Stephen Curry was a good prospect coming out of Davidson, but he wasn't projected to be a top 2 point guard and arguably a top 10 player ever coming out of college. James Harden was also a good prospect, but he wasn't projected to have one of the greatest offensive peaks in NBA history. Giannis Antetokounmpo was viewed as a high-risk, high-reward prospect, but even the high reward wasn't a projection that suggested he would become this all-time great dominant player that he has proven himself as in the NBA. The point is that at the end of the day, the NBA draft is throwing darts into the ocean. Yes, there are signs that you can see in statistics and on tape that give certain prospects more of a chance to reach high-end outcomes than others, but it's an incomplete science where nothing is fully guaranteed. However, with that being said, projections around Victor Wembanyama is truly something worth talking about, because breaking down his projections based off what he shows on tape and in statistics is something I have never seen in a prospect before, because we have never seen anything like Victor Wembanyama at any level. He does things that make his NBA projections feel like fiction. His combination of frame, versatility, feel, athleticism, and skill is something that makes him one of one. Everything I can say about the potential and projection of Victor Wembanyama doesn't feel fair, but they have to be said because he's so great as a prospect that he's forcing these kind of expectations based off this talent that would be viewed as unfair for any other prospect ever. We're talking about a prospect who could be a top 10 player ever if everything goes right. So one thing I noticed right away is that Victor is the most normal looking 7'5" dude I've ever seen. I know that's a weird thing to say, but what I mean by this is most guys that tall are very awkward athletes whose frames are also a bit awkward as well. But with Victor, it's not the case at all. He's a very fluid athlete to the point that I would say he has legit guard wing-like movement skills that are functional, and he also has a frame that really translates to any height. He honestly just looks like a 7'5" version of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, while having somewhat similar fluidity to a guy like SGA as well. He's a 7'5", 230-pound player with great flexibility, body control, quickness, open floor speed, and vertical pop. His athletic traits are truly special, and his build and traits are something that make me believe he would still be an elite prospect at 6'6", let alone 7'5". This isn't a case of someone being hyped up just because they are super tall. This is a case of someone who's being hyped up because they have special athletic traits combined with unreal skill and versatility, and also happen to be super tall as well. Now, when it comes to his offense, it's something that projection-wise feels like I'm watching and talking about a shonen anime character. It's truly absurd to even think about what he projects to be in the future as he continues to improve as a player, because what he is right now as a 19-year-old feels like pure fiction. Let's talk about his traits. He has a good handle that allows him to create off the dribble consistently. He has the quickness, body control, vertical pop, and flexibility as a slasher. He's not a great three-point shooter, but he's clearly growing in that area, and I am very impressed by his willingness and sort of the progress that he's made as a shooter. And he's also a great pull-up mid-range shooter. He draws fouls well and is a good free throw shooter. He has decent feel as a passer, decent vision, and understands his scoring gravity. These are traits that give a 6'3" to 6'6" player a projection of an all-star to all-NBA guy. Now, imagine all of those traits in a 7'5", 230-pound, 8-foot wingspan player that can also run the floor in transition, catch lobs, be a roll man, threaten the PNR, dump off threat, putback threat. This is a 7'5" player who has no flaws on offense. That's what I'm getting at. He could get stronger and work a bit on his shot selection, but that's something all young players struggle with, and the track record of that improving is encouraging. And if those are the only two real flaws on offense, that's not something to worry about too much, because those are things that naturally can improve. I think right away Victor could be a 20-point per game scorer as a rookie. Now, I'm not saying that's a guarantee, but I wouldn't be shocked if he did it either. And that's truly a special conclusion to come to when watching a prospect's tape, because I don't project guys to average 20 points per game as rookies unless they are this level of transcendent. And the only two other prospects I've ever evaluated that I thought could average 20 plus points per game as a rookie were Zion Williamson and Luka Doncic, and I think for as good as both of those players are when healthy, Victor has the potential to be better than both of them on offense. When you look at what he already has on offense at that height, I don't think it's unreasonable to believe that he has the potential to be the most dominant offensive player in the game and the best scorer in the NBA. I know it sounds crazy, but if he's this good already at 19, what he could be at 24 or 25 under the context of continued improvement suggests that he could be putting up all-time great scoring seasons by that point. It's not a guarantee, just like all projections aren't guarantees. But I think just looking at what he is and knowing what he could do on offense right now and knowing how young he is and how much room he has to grow, it really makes me believe that he could have one of the greatest offensive peaks in NBA history. And if you thought his offense was special, his defense is just as good, if not even more special. He's one of the best defensive prospects ever. He's versatile, he can block shots, play multiple defensive coverages, has arguably the greatest defensive ground coverage by a prospect ever. He's disciplined as a defender, he can play passing lanes, he has a high motor and good instincts, and he has super high feel for the game on defense. He has all the traits in the book to suggest that he could be one of the best defenders in the NBA. I think he could be all defense good as a rookie, which is rare to say the least. I also think that he could easily be a Defensive Player of the Year at his potential peak. So where do I think Victor Wembanyama will be in the NBA? Well, I think his floor is super high. I don't see a world where he isn't a good player at the very least. I think it could be an all-star as a rookie. He's one of those transcendent talents where his rookie stat projections aren't impacted by the roster around him when talking about potential landing spots for him in the draft. A nice way of saying whoever gets the first overall pick. He's just that good. My rookie stat projections for Victor Wembanyama are 20.7 points per game, 9.6 rebounds per game, 2.5 assists per game, on 48.9, 31.4, 82.1 shooting splits, along with 2.2 blocks per game and 0.9 steals per game. I think he easily is the front runner for Rookie of the Year. I think he could be an all-star as a rookie just based off these numbers, on top of the fact I think he's going to make whatever team gets the first overall pick a potential play-in team this upcoming season, and the fact I also think he could be all defense good as a rookie. When talking about his potential peak stat projections, I think that Victor at his potential peak, assuming his development goes right, is going to be flat out absurd, and I think that the numbers he puts up in individual seasons might be higher than what I think an average of his peak will be statistically. But I do think the projection as of right now is 33.6 points per game, 12.2 rebounds per game, 4.8 assists per game on 57.3, 40.2, 88.1 shooting splits, along with 3.5 blocks per game and 1.3 steals per game. I think at his peak, he could easily be the best player in the world, and that's what makes him special. He has the potential to be the best offensive and defensive player in the world one day, and I don't think it's a stretch to say that he has that potential. I know that everything I said in this video sounds like a lot. Expectations that are too high, projections that are too lofty. But the question I have is this: what other conclusion am I supposed to come to? I feel like being conservative about his projections just because they seem high isn't doing Victor justice as a prospect. The conclusion of watching a 7'5", 8-foot wingspan player that moves like a guard and has all the tools to be dominant on both ends of the floor is going to lead to projections like this. So we haven't seen a player with these kind of expectations of legitimate all-time great outcomes like this, but we also haven't seen a player like Victor either. When you have to project something the game has never seen, it will lead to a projection that feels lofty. And it's no guarantee that Victor reaches these kind of outcomes in his NBA career. That's something only time will tell. But when I look at the tape and I look at the numbers, I see a player that would still be a top 2 pick if he was 6'5", let alone a whole foot taller. I do think it's possible we could be seeing the future of basketball and potentially one of the greatest players ever whose career is just getting started, and that's not something based off hype. That's something based off what the numbers and tape show. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, I'm notified whenever I release a video. I'm making videos about basketball all the time, so if that's something that interests you, I really think you enjoy this channel, and liking and subscribing are the 2 best ways you can help me out. Helps me out in the YouTube algorithm, helps more people find my videos, so in turn it helps my channel grow, and I can make more content for you guys consistently in the future. Let me know what you think about Victor Wembanyama in the comment section below. What team do you want to get that first overall pick to draft him? How good do you think he could be? All of that in the comment section will be much appreciated. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.